Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into this week's episode of the Ringing the Bell podcast. This week, we bring you two very special guests and Belle's athletic trainers, Hannah Sanders and Danielle Wehrheim. How are you ladies today?
Good. Oh, yeah, we have one microphone. We're good.
So, starting off, you guys are a little over a year and a half, or about a year and a half into being here at St. Mary's. How did you guys get to St. Mary's? How did you guys end up here altogether?
Altogether, so I'm from South Bend. Hannah's actually from Mishawaka. I think we both have talked and we're like, we're never going to back, but we're both back, so that's fun. I knew when we graduated I wanted to work at a college, and at the time there wasn't a place in Indianapolis that I really wanted to stay at. And our professor actually knew that St. Mary's was going to be posting a job position. She's like, hey, you should apply for this. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door before it was even posted. So that's how I got here.
I did not want to work in a college ever. I originally wanted to go into performing arts and work with dancers. And then I took a job in Fort Wayne originally, right out of school, and it wasn't a good fit. And so Danielle found out last minute that she needed a person to fill the second role. And so she was like, hey, do you want to come and work with me? And so I was like, sure, why not? And I knew St. Mary's kind of had some performing arts, not necessarily in athletics, but there is an opportunity there to expand. So, yeah.
And you guys had very different starting moments. Danielle, you started kind of May-ish, summer, so you had a little bit of time to get acclimated.
Yeah.
Hannah, you were end of August. You were thrown right into the fire. What was obviously very different? What were both of your experiences like when you first started coming in?
It was a lot. It was different. I wasn't expecting to be by myself. And so for a minute there, I had the previous athletic trainer was still here for a little bit. But then when classes were getting ready to start, I was worried. I was like, I don't have anyone. Hannah wasn't sure yet. I was trying not to be the overbearing, take the job. Secretly, I was like, do it. But it all ended up working out. And I had a little bit extra time with the athletes, preseason, fall stuff, which was really helpful. It was really overwhelming in general, but it was definitely different for Hannah when coming in right as classes started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was chaotic. I remember meeting some of the fall athletes, and they were like, Danielle, can you look at this? They didn't want to talk to me because I was so overwhelmed, and it was just really crazy. But
it was just very new.
Yeah, very new. Oh, yeah. There was a lot of things we needed to fix, and yeah, it was kind of a dumpster fire, but it's okay.
It's better now.
It is, yeah.
And then so in that time, what have you guys been able to learn about the different programs, our different athletes, as well as our athletics department as a whole that have been from when you started to now? It's December of 2025.
You want me to start?
I forgot what I wrote down.
We learned a lot of different things. Each team is slightly different. I mean, obviously the goal is the same, to advocate for our athletes, to support them in any way we can. We learned a lot. Personally, I learned a lot about myself. As a clinician, I learned a lot about myself. And I think each program brought a unique aspect to that, especially how different teams function, how different coaches function. They all kind of brought a piece into that, that helped change kind of who I am and how I do things. But most of them positive, but then there's other times too where it's okay, I don't like how that went. Yeah. I'm going to change that or manipulate that. But overall, I mean, it's been great. It's been fun to learn. Yes, we had to get through the dumpster fire a little bit, but it's a night and day difference from where we were when we first started to now.
Yeah.
So last year we didn't really know going into each season what was going to happen, and so it was very unpredictable as far as what athletes needed, what coaches needed, kind of like Danielle said. But now this year we have a better idea of what to expect going in, and so I think both of us feel more comfortable approaching each sport and each season. And then with that too, being a part of like the care team on campus in general, like I feel like athletics is a bridge to all the different programs on campus, and so being part of that in an athlete's journey that's outside of their like sport identity has been really like cool to see, and how St. Mary's is like unique in that way. Like we have a lot of resources that other colleges don't have for athletes that I think is really cool.
And for with the sports that we have, obviously if you get working at other schools and other places, you're working with similar sports or similar type of athletes, but then you come in and you're handed with first year student athletes and stunt.
Yeah.
It's a very different. What was that sort of transition like with stunt or with other sports that you guys hadn't seen before?
Oh, you want to start?
No, go ahead.
Cut you off there. So, again, I knew I was wanting to go in the college setting. I had worked at different, like, college settings throughout, like, Marian University here. I went to San Diego State University. So I've seen, I had all that pretty rounded. Stunt was definitely like, oh, okay, cool. I hadn't really worked with cheerleading, that type of thing before, which I know stunt's not cheerleading. Don't come at me. But that's all we had really to compare it to. And I like, which I'll probably talk about a little later, but the first aid side of things, or like emergency care. So I was like, okay, I'll be fine. Like I can handle this. But it definitely was a curveball. And like Hannah said, it was a big undertaking. We weren't expecting, she wasn't even expecting to be in a college. I wasn't expecting to not have, a seasoned athletic trainer, ahead of me. So it was just like, oh, I have to figure this out now. But we're like, we can do this. Hannah has a dance background, which I'm sure she'll talk about, that I think has really helped as well. But overall, it was really kind of daunting, but we figured it out, and we just kind of worked from there.
Yeah, so I grew up. I grew up as a dancer. I have like 15 years of experience, and mostly in ballet and like contemporary. But then in undergrad, I did a lot of like group dance stuff, and so there was a little bit more of like acrobatics, like throwing people up in the air, catching them, doing different things. So I became more comfortable being in that role as a dancer. So having stunt on campus, it wasn't like a huge whoa, like this is crazy to me. It was kind of just like I needed to learn their language versus like how that translated from dance. Yeah. And then also in grad school, I had experiences with different like ballet companies and dancers and all that stuff. So I felt comfortable with the sport. Not so much with the emergency care part of it though. So I think that's where Danielle and I complement each other really well, is that she's ready to like jump in and take care of like crazy injuries that happen, and I'm more of like, oh, like this is what this means, or like this is how you do this certain movement or whatever.
Yeah. And so you guys talked about with graduate school, you guys both graduated from the University of Indianapolis. How did your guys' connection grow from meeting there to where you guys are now?
Well, we started off...
I just want to know what she's going to say.
We started off not as friends. We sat on opposite sides of the classroom. We weren't enemies, but we weren't like close at all. Yeah. So it was really cool to see during the 2 years how we kind of grew closer as like classmates, colleagues, and friends. And we started off opposite sides of the classrooms, and then we ended out sitting in the middle of the classroom together. So I don't know, it's like a cute metaphor. But I think working together professionally, we both came from a lot like of different experiences, and Danielle had a lot more like sideline emergency care stuff, and I was more in the clinic doing hands-on like manual therapy, rehab stuff. And so both of us complemented each other well, but I think now that we had a whole year under our belt, we both became more comfortable in each other's like comfort zones, if that makes sense. And so now like I feel like we're both more well-rounded, and I feel more comfortable going out and doing emergency care and doing sideline stuff, and she's a lot more comfortable doing like the rehab in clinic kind of thing. So I think it was really cool to just see we both came from wholly different experiences, but now like we're really great together.
I don't have a ton more to add. I mean, I always tell people I adopted my introvert because I'm very type A. Hannah's not very type A. But yeah, we really did come from different backgrounds. I mean, she went more in undergrad the traditional route of exercise science degree into athletic training. I have a psychology degree into athletic training, and that's not the usual normal, which makes sense for me. But yeah, we just complement each other really well. And I have to say, we learned a lot of this in grad school, but you have to be able to be open and comfortable to learn from your peers.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of competition in academics and all that kind of stuff, but we really did help each other, because my strengths were somewhere else versus hers. And we actually, like, even thinking about studying for a board of certification exam, we took the time to be like, hey, I'm really weak in this area. And like, I let her coach me and help teach me and that kind of thing, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I think that really, strengthened what we have together. And then it's definitely a different dynamic when you become colleagues, and you add in, the third party of athletes and then coaches and stuff like that, because, her interactions with some of them are different than mine.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, it's okay if this certain athlete doesn't, I'm not gonna say doesn't like me, but they pick their favorite, and that's fine. And so like that's been really fun to watch too. But I agree, I think we're definitely more comfortable now and that sort of thing. Like, but I know for sure there's still stuff that she can teach me, and she'll do something, I'll be like, oh, what did you just do? Like, show me how you did that. And she's like, oh yeah, I learned that when I was with Louisville Ballet. And so it's kind of fun because we still surprise each other and like, how do you know that? But yeah, I think it's great that we like came from the same background but also different, and yeah, it's good.
And then, like, in terms of our department, obviously you guys are the closest between anybody. You guys are together almost 24/7, feels like. How have you guys seen that connection and your friendship grow outside of St. Mary's as well?
So that's been difficult in itself too. And I think it helped that we were already together 24/7 as students. It was definitely a different, I say we're trauma bonded because 2 years straight of very intense school will do that. But we've tried, and we're still working on it, to be, if Hannah has time off, I don't talk to her about work.
Yeah.
We've noticed too, sometimes you do need to rant about work outside of work. Sometimes we need to just not even acknowledge that it exists. So we're still trying to find footing there, but no, we're still really close. Like, she was just in my wedding, and all of that. So I definitely think there's positives and negatives, just like anything in life, but we're still trying to navigate, where's the cutoff for work and everything. But
yeah, I would agree with that. I think we used to hang out a lot. Like in grad school, we hang out, study together, and then we'd like do something fun with it. And now we don't have as much time to do that just because of our schedule. So I think just finding a good day and night or whatever to like get together, do something outside of work. That's been hard because we don't have the same schedule. Like, I work really late, she's off earlier, or we switch, or in the spring somebody's going to be morning, someone's going to be evening.
Yeah.
So there's just not always a good time to like find that like free moment. But I think, like she said, having that, when we are off work, we're off work, and when we are at work, we're at work, and trying to find balance that way.
And obviously in athletic training, there's a lot of moments that you're like, man, I hope this never happens again. What are some of the moments that you guys look back on and you're like, this was a great moment, I love that this happened, or that you're like, this really helped me grow a ton?
Stunt.
Just overall, yeah.
But no, last year during the Valentine's Day tournament, we had
Oh yeah.
we had our first emergency situation.
Yeah.
As fully certified athletic trainers.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it wasn't anybody on our team, so that's good. But we had another athlete from another team have a medical emergency, and we had to respond and call 911 and get them sent to the hospital.
Yeah.
prior to that, both of us had only done that within like a simulation. So
Yeah.
we never had like a real life patient where we were like, oh crap, like this is happening. We need to like do this. So yeah, we can continue.
Yes, that was, I mean, learning, but shout out to the University of Indianapolis and their athletic training program. Specifically Cam and Stacy. Stacy has moved to a different school, but still, I was so prepared. I mean, it just, like, you just kind of do it. And I don't think you always get that at a different program and that kind of thing. And, like, yes, I will plug the athletic training program there. Because a lot of the situations that, yes, it was intense, we learned from it. I never felt like I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I always have had the foundation to like build off of it. But yes, that was a big learning thing. And we learned like, hey, just, we do have emergency action plans in place. We do have other things in place, but we need to like polish these up a little bit more.
Yeah.
I would definitely say like that was like the defining moment. But then if we look at last year versus this year in terms of emergency situations, called an ambulance one time last year. We've called, I think, 7 times this year already. So everyone's okay. Don't worry. Preface with that. But we're definitely more comfortable with making those like decisions and stuff like that. And I think that's a big learning point there. And then also how to interact with the coaches when we have to go tell them, hey, this athlete's out for a while or they're done for the season.
Yeah.
Has been really like it's hard to learn, because we don't want to be that person to say, hey, because
Yeah.
a lot of the times we get associated with that negative emotion of, oh, they're here to tell me something bad. And I get that, but also we're trying to build that, like, just because we're telling you they're out, like, we have a plan. I can give you a rough timeline, things like that. And you can't really get that experience in school because when you're at a site, you have your preceptor and they handle all that. So yeah, you'll talk about it, all that kind of stuff, but it definitely is really daunting the first time going in and being like, hey, your athlete's out for the season. But I would say that was another huge learning point for me. Yeah.
And so as you guys look forward to the rest of this year, years in the future, what are you guys wanting to improve or change that you guys want to make this the best experience for our student athletes that you can?
I think what we want to do, and I mean, we both kind of have different sides, but they all like come together. And we've already noticed a difference from the short time we've been here. There was a lot of turnaround before we got here, and I wanted to make sure that our space was a safe place for athletes. And I actually almost cried earlier this year. Hearing 2 athletes over talking, and they're like, yeah, this is like, I never came in here last year, but this is my safe spot. Like, this is my safe place. I know I can come in here. My office is open. Like, they know they come and have floor time. Hannah started that. And I want them to know, like, I am here for you. I'm an advocate for you. And whether it's, yes, I have that mental health background. So whether it's the start, they come to me, I stay in my lane. If I know they need to go see someone else, we get that conversation going. But letting them know you're not alone. This is, if you are injured, this is not the end. We can get through this. And I had a personal experience when I was younger that, like, I was alone, and that's why I'm here. And so I want to continue to build on that. And I think that's just more of an atmosphere thing. But if you're talking, other, capital request things, obviously, we want to make the space better, get the rehab, like, stuff more, I don't want to say that word, beefed up is terrible. We want to get that built up more so that we can have time with them. I think definitely getting more buy-in with preventative care before we get injured is huge, and I know that's definitely Hannah's wheelhouse too. But overall, just making sure that they understand that no matter what, they can come in and we'll help them with what they need.
Yeah, I agree. I would really like to also incorporate more of the like nutrition, strength, and conditioning into the athletic training, because that is part of like the care that an athlete needs, and it's like the whole person, not just, you know, specific to a body part or an injury. And I think that we'd see a lot better outcomes as far as like injury recovery timeline if we can start incorporating more of a nutrition and like conditioning aspect that's like consistent across the board, consistent across all teams, but specific to like what each athlete needs individually. And then I would love to expand our outreach too, to like incorporate maybe some of the like dancers or the club sports, just so that we can have more of a reach on campus and start working with other people outside of the coaches. And then since we just added the exercise science program, I think having that relationship with Erica will be really good to kind of bridge the gap between athletics and the academic side of campus.
And so I was going to ask you guys, with the new exercise science program, how are you guys looking to be involved with that, or getting students who are interested in that, especially since it is new, getting them placed into it if they're interested in doing athletic training or anything like that? How do you guys want to see that be used, as well as how could it help you guys as well?
Yeah, so we've already let our space be used as like a lab for the exercise science program. So I think just building on that, like, hey, come in, you know, you could use some of our stuff, see kind of how, you know, different things work, like the E-stim machine, the cold tubs, all that stuff, measuring range of motion. And then additionally, like if there were people interested in athletic training, you know, potentially having them shadow, or like, hey, you can't technically do like hands-on patient care, but you can still like, maybe we could teach you how to tape an ankle, or teach you kind of how to like build a rehab plan or something like that. And just get them kind of exposed into the sports medicine world, because there is a lot of overlap between exercise science and athletic training, and even like physical therapy, physician assistant, all that stuff. A lot of that stuff we could have that experience here on campus, instead of having to like go out and go somewhere else. So I think that would be a big like buy-in for students to kind of like get their foot in the door here, and then we can, you know, they can go out and do other things after.
I agree. We're gonna say that every time we pass the microphone. I love the idea of welcoming more students into our space. You know, being a fresh graduate, if you will, like we get it, we've been there, and if we can help out, like we've given study tips to our current athletes. Like we have knowledge that we'd love to share. And the academic side of things, we both truly enjoy. So I think that's been a fun thing to realize too, of like, hey, we're not totally removed. I would also love to start doing, and we've been in touch with Erica about doing research with her, because we both really enjoyed the research aspect when we were in school. And again, having that space, being able to share our knowledge, what we know, has definitely like been huge for both of us. And it also helps you learn when you teach someone. So keeping some of that more schooling stuff up to date would probably be helpful too. But yeah, we definitely want to be involved with that. And I agree, like bridging that gap between athletics and academics, because, you know, we are an academic heavy school, and I love that. But also I think that a lot of the times we're like, oh, and we're separate in Angela. It's like, no, we're not. Like we can all be connected. And I think that would be really helpful overall for the school as an entirety. So,
Danielle and Hannah, thank you guys so much for joining us on Ringing the Bell. Real quick, we're going to send over to Peyton, who's going to give us our Bell's Weekly Recap, and we're going to come back and we're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Peyton Dymek, and this is your Bell's Weekly Recap. Bell's basketball hosted 2 games this past week. First, they hosted Calvin, where they fell in a 61-57 match. Senior Hannah Outlaw led the Belle, scoring 19 points and making 6 of her 8 free throws. Sophomore Ella Natara was close behind, scoring 11 points, and senior Nicole Connolly scored 10 by making 4 of her 6 field goals. Basketball also hosted Hope on Saturday, where they fell 82-42. Junior Annie Restovich led the Bells, scoring 17 points, making 50% of her field goals and 50% of her three-pointers. Kate Restovich was close behind, making 8 points, going 2 for 4 in free throws. Freshman Liv Fry also led the Bells in rebounds, having 9 on the night. On Wednesday, the Bells will travel to play Adrian, and then on Saturday, they'll travel all the way down to St. Louis to play Webster. That was your Bells Weekly Recap. Make sure you follow Bells Athletics on all social media platforms so you can stay up to date with the most recent news in Bells Athletics. Bell yeah!
All right, Danielle and Hannah, we're going to get into our rapid fire questions. Tell everybody they're not that tough. Don't think too hard about them. Just nice and easy.
Okay.
Okay. First question is, what is your favorite restaurant in town?
Oh, goodness gracious. Probably Papa Vino's. That's the top one that's going to come off the top of my head right now.
Hacienda.
It's very local.
Yeah.
What is your favorite activity away from St. Mary's?
I love to read. I'm usually reading. So yeah, if you want book recommendations, just ask.
I still try to dance when I can, and I've also recently picked up crochet, so that's really fun.
Very nice. What is your dream vacation spot?
Oh goodness. That one's tough. Michael and I want to go to Japan for our honeymoon, so I guess that's a dream vacation spot, but it will always be our family cottage on Lake Michigan is the dream because I get to do that every year.
Yeah.
I really want to go to like Fiji or like somewhere with like really cool snorkeling.
What is your favorite TV show or thing that you're watching right now?
Oh no. I'm not watching TV right now.
Or recently?
I mean, I'm going to just go favorite overall. New Girl got me through grad school and college, so.
I would say Stranger Things.
New season 5 just came out.
She wants to get caught up.
So
I'm not caught
that's a
up.
lot to get caught up
I know,
on.
it's okay. I've gotten through like 2 seasons, 3. I don't know. It's fine. I'm sorry.
Do you guys prefer working outdoor or indoor games?
I like working outdoor games, and I will always be an advocate for inclement weather because you will remember those games and you can make them fun and positive. And so
Yeah.
anytime it's like raining, they're like, oh, it's raining. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
The Albion
most
soccer
people-
game
yeah.
this year.
Well, I wasn't there, but most people don't agree with me,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
I'm in my press box, so I'm dry.
I know. I was like, most people don't agree.
I prefer indoors. We're opposites though, so it works.
Yes, it does. What is your favorite color of wrap to use?
Of wrap?
Pre-wrap.
Oh, well, we get a pretty blue every year. That's
Anything like at UIndy or anything?
anything. Yeah, no, probably a blue still.
I would love to use pink KT tape. I think that would be my favorite.
What is your favorite moment that you've had at St. Mary's?
Honestly, this is gonna sound so cheesy. Connecting with the athletes and watching them be successful, especially if they've had, a rough time. Not everyone loves to admit they have to go to the athletic trainer all the time.
Yeah.
But definitely seeing our hard work pay off, but more importantly, their hard work, because for them to get better, they really have to put in the effort. They can only get better if they want to. So seeing them going back and being successful is probably the best thing you can see as an athletic trainer.
Yeah.
I enjoy making my athletes laugh. I have some iconic one-liners that I can drop randomly, so it's really fun to just set the mood that way and take some of the stress off and just make
Yeah.
everyone laugh.
What is your spirit animal, or if you were an animal, what would it be?
I know Hannah would be a corgi.
Well, when you
What would
have
I be?
three
Because
of
I
them.
really don't know what I would be. What am I?
Danielle would probably be a sea turtle.
That works. What is your favorite spot on campus, outside of the athletic training room?
Oh, goodness gracious. We don't get out of the Angela very often. Favorite spot on campus. I think when we first started working, we were working really long days. And I think my favorite memory of that is walking the Ave to Notre Dame and back, to the grotto and back, just because that became like our moment of peace and time
Yeah.
to relax.
My favorite place is probably Le Mans or like the surrounding landscape kind of over there. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know what the pond is called, but the little pond that's over there
Yeah.
with the bridge.
Yeah.
Just fun.
Perfect. Danielle and Hannah, once again, thank you guys so much
Yeah,
for coming
thanks for
on
having
Ringing the
us.
Bell. Is there anything that you guys want to let everybody know about your department, about anything that you guys are doing before we wrap things up?
Danielle just got married.
Wedding pictures will be coming soon. Everyone's been bothering me about that.
Not surprised.
I know. But also just come in and say hi, even if you don't know us that well. Like, we want to build that connection and that relationship. And then we did make an Instagram this year, and we are terrible at posting, but we will try to do better.
We will put it right underneath
perfect.
you guys, right there.
Right here.
Perfect.
Yeah. But thank you for having us.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Ringing the Bell. Make sure you stay tuned for next week's episode and follow Belle's Athletics and Belle's Athletic Training on all social media platforms. Stay up to date with everything that your Bells are up to. Have a great day, everyone.